Okay, so the title says insects, but in actuality we're going to be talking about arthropods, which they are invertebrate animals and they have an exoskeleton, segmented bodies, jointed appendages, and they are from the phylum Arthropoda. And they include insects, arachnids, myriapods, and crustaceans. So what is an insect, like the title says? It's a class of invertebrates within the arthropod phylum. They have chitinous exoskeletons, 3-part bodies, which is the head, thorax, and abdomen. And they also have 3 pairs of jointed legs, compound eyes, and 1 pair of antennae. So for this webinar, we're going to have both insects and then insects that are in the arthropod family. We have other creepy crawlies and all sorts of things to talk about today. Now they can be used for behavioral lessons. Some make just great classroom pets, but I will be talking about all that. So first up, we have pill bugs and sow bugs. I will ask Leah to please zoom in onto the plate here. So pill bugs are also called terrestrial isopods. They're about 9/16 of an inch long. They can be found under stones and logs, and they live in moist soil, and they feed on rotting plant matter. And what's really cool about these guys is they also can reproduce by parthenogenesis as well, which is when the female produces eggs that take 3 to 9 weeks to hatch, with about 2 dozen offspring by themselves. The young spend 3 to 9 days in the mother's pouch, and she may have 2 to 3 broods a year. So it's pretty cool. So right now I'm going to be showing you, let's see if I can see on this screen here. Whoops. Okay. A little reversed. Okay. So right here I have pill bugs, which are on this side. I don't know if we can zoom in a little bit perhaps, or not, to see these guys. I'll dump them out on the plate actually. Can we see that? These are the pill bugs, and some uses that you can use them in the classroom for is students can draw and see the differences between the isopods themselves. They all have different colorations, and some are like a light blue in color, some have like really cool markings. Can you see that? Okay, awesome. You can also compare the differences between pill bugs and sow bugs. We can go to my next slide, then we can also check out the order numbers there. Awesome. So another thing they can do is they can create a compost. You can use them for compost. So if you're doing a classroom project that involves compost, these guys are perfect for it. They are great decomposers. *6 to mute. Okay. So here's some sow bugs. So another thing that you can do with these guys is that you can compare the sow bugs and the pill bugs. So if you can see this, move the dirt out of the way here. So these guys are the sow bugs, the flatter ones, and then the pill bugs are the ones that are rolling up. So they're called roly-polies. You can find them outside, but we can send them to you in packs of 45 or 100 for these kits and for these experiments. One kit that we do sell, if we can go to the next slide, we can put that up.
Sure. Melissa, is
Yes.
there a way we can segregate the insects just a little bit more?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if we can.
Thank you.
They are not cooperating with me here. There we go. Come in. You see that? Nope. There we go. So one of the kits that we do have is a behavioral kit, which, let's see if we can zoom in a little bit here. There they are. Go back. So we do have a behavioral kit, which students can explore tendencies of these pill bugs to see what kind of environment they like. So it comes with a tray, and the students set up different environments, whether dark or light or moist or dry, different substrates, and then the students can form a hypothesis to guess which environment the pill bugs want to go to, and then they can see where they go to. Obviously, this guy here wants to go to the edge of the tray, so. But here's our pill bugs. Maybe this is going to be easier to see. There we go. So here's our pill bugs. They can roll up like this. and then the sow bugs are flatter. And these guys are great and easy to take care of. A habitat is just a terrarium and some soil, leaf litter, and we feed them potatoes and make sure it's moist, and they are happy in their environment then. So that is that for the pills and sows. Now they come in a 45 pack and a 100 pack, and we also have decaying wood if you choose to put that in there as well, so it's easier than going out and finding something for them and having to make sure it's sterile and everything. So let me pack up these guys and we will go on to our next critter. So these guys are actually not insects, they are terrestrial crustaceans. Okay. So next up we have a Chilean rosehair tarantula. Now, they look much scarier than they actually are. So they are from the deserts of northern Chile and Bolivia and Argentina. Let's see how we can see. I will hold it first and then I'll hold it underneath the camera. So these guys are the most docile of all the pet tarantulas. They are called rosehairs. Come on. She doesn't want to cooperate. They are called rosehairs because they have like a rosy sheen to them. Once I get her out, I can show it off. There we go. Let go. There we go. Can we see that? Okay, I will hold it under the...
Switching cameras?
Yeah. Here we go. So this is a Chilean rosehair tarantula. You can see kind of like the pink on top of her head. Now they are, like I said, docile, but they do have venom, but it's about as potent as a bee sting. So if they do bite, which they would rather not, they would much rather run away than bite you. It is like a bee sting. So for students that might be allergic to bees, I wouldn't recommend holding them just in case. But other than that, they are fine to hold. You can see she's just hanging out. For those of you who are just joining us, if you could please press *6 to mute, that would be great. Thank you. So another couple facts about her. They don't burrow in captivity, although I do have one at home that has built herself a fine little cave. So it's really cool to see how they do that in their habitat. Yep. They also have urticating hairs, which they can shoot out, and they can be irritating, but again, it's not something she would prefer to do. Again, for those of you who are just joining us, please press *6 to mute. Thank you. As you can see, she's just kind of hanging out. So let me just flip if we can go to the next slide, please.
Can I switch it?
I think so. Sorry about that. Here we go. So like I said, what to do with them in a classroom setting. Obviously make absolutely great classroom pets because they are very low maintenance. They need a spritz of moisture a week and a cricket each week. You can use them for behavioral studies like reaction to environment. Do they prefer light or dark? A behavioral study which bases on feeding. Would she rather eat a cricket or maybe a cockroach or some other small critter? You can also learn about webbing, which she's not doing right now, but they have, let's see if I can get it. They have little spinnerets on their back. That's where the webbing comes out of, right there. And, they sometimes build webs, which the students can then compare. I'm having some crawling difficulties here. Students can compare webbing, like what does her web look like in comparison to a house spider's web, for example. Another thing maybe for the higher, like 7th, 8th grade classrooms is mating. The males actually have hooks on their front legs, which they use during mating to hold the female's fangs out of the way. And then one more really awesome thing is the molting behavior. And what molting is how the spiders grow. Because they have the exoskeleton, they need to shed that in order to grow. So what they do is they usually get a bald spot on their back here. It indicates whether they're ready to molt or not. And then they will lay down on their backs, and the back will split open, and then the tarantula will molt. It almost looks like she's taking off a jacket. And let me put her away, and I actually have a molt to show off. So right here, we can maybe zoom in on that. And what's really cool about the molts is that they show every single part of the tarantula, and including the fangs. So they is that all we can zoom in? There we go.
Okay, very good. Blurry on our end.
Is it blurry? Okay. So the fangs are right here, but you can see every single little hair comes off, and then this one is missing obviously a couple legs, but
can you hold it in your hand a little closer to the camera?
Yeah. Well, I was showing off the molt, but yeah. So.
No, can you show the molt up close? There you go.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
So let's see here. Thanks. It's fuzzy. Okay. So that is the Chilean rose-haired tarantula and her molting habits. If you want to make a habitat for her, it's very easy. If we can go back to the bigger camera, I can hold up. So right here, I just have a terrarium, and it has some soil in it, and then it has a log for her to hide under, and a water dish. And then obviously I'm going to put the lid on it as well. But she is happy in just that. And then we feed them 1 cricket a week, 2 if they're really hungry. Sometimes they snatch a cricket right away. That means they're a little bit hungrier than usual. In the wild, they can actually go up to 3 months without food, but we like to keep ours happy here. So I think that is it for the rose-haired tarantula. So let's go to the next critter.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, don't forget to hit *6 to unmute yourself, and you can ask them at any time. Or we do have the web feature where you can type me your questions, and I will read them aloud anonymously to Melissa. Thank you so much.
Okay, next up we have. Oh.
Did you want that slide?
No, it's basically the things I said. So retreats for hiding, humidity. So next up, we have a diplopod, which is a giant tropical millipede. And what's really neat about these guys, they are awards exclusive. We are the only company that carries them. We import them ourselves. Well, not ourselves, but we get them imported from East Africa. So I will go back to this camera. It's just easier to see everything up close. I'm sorry, it's reversed. Okay, there we go. So this is a giant tropical millipede. I'll put him down. It's a little easier to see. He's not doing anything right now. Like I said, from East Africa, they can grow up to about 15 inches in length. They live about 5 to 7 years. Even though they don't bite or anything, they can secrete an irritating fluid from glands that are located on each segment. But really all it does is it's a little bit stinky, and it leaves like a yellowish stain on fingers. But if you can wash that off in the sink. Again, for those of you joining us, please press *6 to mute. Thank you very much. So they have 2 pairs of legs on each segment. We can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. And what's really cool is the males court the females by coming up and massaging them. So the male actually comes up and does this little leg dance. He kind of taps on the female, like with all of his legs, and he kind of creates almost like a rhythmic sound when he does that to calm the female, to get her to uncoil. The females then lay their eggs about 4 inches deep in a nest underground. Now this is very rare for them to reproduce in captivity because they are very specific about what they like. They need very deep substrate, they need the right temperature and the right moisture, but I know that we've been able to do it, and then I've seen a couple of zoos manage it as well. But you don't really have to worry about getting an influx of young if you get a pair of them. So next slide, please. So what other than being an amazing classroom pet are these guys used for? something to do with evolution is the students can discuss about how the millipedes actually are believed to have been amongst the first animals to have colonized land about 430 million years ago. So if there's a lesson on evolution, these guys would be a great example to talk about land-dwelling animals. Again, behavioral studies, what did they like to eat? Would they rather eat hard dog food, or would they rather eat vegetables? Would they rather eat fruits? Things like that. Something I like to call the scoop on poop is to study the how millipedes break down and decompose what they eat. It passes through their gut, and you can put it on a slide and check out what comes out of their gut. Now, usually another thing they do is they do poop when they defend themselves. I just wanted to show that, but she is not doing that, so she's a very clean millipede. Hopefully, whoops, we can press *6 to mute, please. Thank you. Okay, so continuing onward. Yes, and they can do a math experiment where they can hypothesize how many legs the millipede has. Can we press *6 to mute, please? Thank you. So how many legs does a millipede have? Now, I said most of them have 2 pairs of legs per segment, so the students can count how many segments they have, do the math for that. Burrowing and molting behavior, again, they create tunnels for their nests and in order to molt, just like the tarantulas, but they don't have a molt like the tarantulas where it stays in one piece. It actually decomposes right away and falls apart. And then the coiling behavior, which is what I talked about a little bit before. This is how they predominantly defend themselves, and if they don't want to mate or anything, they'll coil up. So students can see if they're more comfortable in a lighted area or a dark area. Does the millipede open up faster if it's in someone's warm hands rather than in the substrate? Things like that. If a male is present, does the millipede feel more comfortable? So there's lots of uses for the classroom, but and they're very low maintenance, so just as a pet they are also great because we just feed them some fresh fruits and vegetables every week. If we could go to the next slide, actually I'll talk about that real quick. So the millipedes, you can get them, there's the code for them, and we do, if you don't feel like setting up your own habitat, we do have a habitat kit which comes with the terrarium, the substrate, a literature all about the millipede. You get a little bit of a tree branch, and you get your giant millipede. Now, the millipede you get it's a coupon. So you order the habitat, and then you get the coupon for the millipede, and then you set up your habitat, order the millipede, and they will come in when the habitat is ready. What we also like to do, if we could go back to the big camera real quick, so I can show off the terrarium. So I don't know if you can see it, but we have a small dish in there with water in it. We keep a couple rocks in there just so they can't drown. Obviously this dish is too small for it to drown, but it's just to show off. And we feed them dog food, and then also well-washed organic spinach, leaves, corn, peas, cucumbers, and sometimes some oranges and other fruit. So that is the giant tropical millipede. I'll show it off one more time on the small camera to try to get a good shot of these guys because they're absolutely amazing creatures. If we could go back to the other camera. Thank you. So she's sadly, I'm going to uncoil her a little bit so you can see the legs. This is also really fun for students because they love feeling the legs. They kind of feel like a Velcro on their fingers, or like students will say, oh, it feels like a toothbrush. And it's really neat because students will be afraid, but as soon as they learn, you know, that the millipede won't harm them in any way, they actually become really interested in what the millipede has to offer, actually. So that is the giant tropical millipede. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, it does sound like somebody's on speakerphone, maybe with their cell phone, and we're picking up a lot of feedback. Can you please hit *6 to mute your phone if you haven't already? Thank you so much.
Oh, these guys are nice. Okay, next up we have our giant hissing cockroaches, which actually are insects. So get these guys out and onto the tray. So here we are. So they are native to Madagascar. They have about a 5-year lifespan. They are wingless as opposed to the cockroaches that you would usually think of. They do hiss, that's why they're called hissers. They have these holes on the side, they're called spiracles, and that's how they hiss and that's how they breathe as well. Sadly, these guys are so used to me handling them, they don't really hiss much anymore, or else I would love to show you. But usually if you get a group of them, that one of them will tend to hiss at you. They don't bite, but they do have, if we could go to the other camera, please. They do have spiny legs, so there we go. Is it fuzzy or can you see that?
I can see that now.
There. So their legs are spiny. It might be a little scratchy, but they won't break the skin. So there's no worry about getting scratched to a point that we'll need a Band-Aid or anything. They're actually great for smaller students to hold because they are so big. And they don't really move much. On occasion, they will want to kind of run, but it's always good to hold them over a table and you'll be able to capture them right away. Now on that note, if they do happen to get out, they are not pests, so they will not infest anywhere in the school or the home that they are kept in.
So we
yes?
have somebody asking to see the little holes you were talking about.
Sadly, they are so small that we can't really see them. Oops, let me see if I can hold the side. So they would be right along here, along the side here.
Thank you.
Yeah. So on that note, I'm getting a little bit closer up. There, can we see that? Okay, so this is a male. I'm trying to line him up, sorry. I'm trying to line him up so you can see him. There we go. So this guy, he has horns on his head, so that indicates that it is a male, and the females actually have a smooth head. You can see that she has kind of a smooth head, and this guy has horns on his head. So it's cool for the students to compare and find which one's a male and which one's a female. Now the females, an interesting fact about these guys is that they carry their egg case internally, but then when they're ready for the babies to hatch, they expel the egg case, it hardens, and then they suck it back into their bodies and the babies hatch, and then they give live birth. So it's really an interesting process, and if you get a couple of male and females, you will definitely see some babies because they definitely will reproduce. But okay. But you can ask to get just males, that way you won't have that problem. So if we could go to the next slide. Yep, this is the slide. Okay, so we do have them singly. We recommend a terrarium with leaf litter and soil. And if we could go back to the big camera for a second, I'll hold it up so they can see. Oh, this guy is not letting go. I'll just hold on to him. So we have the terrarium right here with a shallow water dish in it. We feed them dog food, well-washed lettuce, oranges, apples. We do have cockroach food if you choose to feed them that way. Make sure that you keep the terrarium in a humid and moist by just misting it on occasion. Like I said, if they escape, it won't be that big of a deal. They are slow enough where you'll probably find them right after they escape anyway. Yes, the care sheet is on there as well. So if you go online, you can actually find that care sheet and find out all about these guys. Oops. Okay, and that's it for the giant hissing cockroaches. We shall go to our next critter. Oh, actually, before we do that, I'm sorry. Forgot I had this guy here. If we can go to the camera again, the small camera. So the hissers actually molt much like the tarantulas do. So you can see that right there. This is a freshly molted hissing cockroach. Now they look like, you're zooming in on me so I'm losing the focus here. They look like albinos, but they are not albinos. They are just molted. They are very soft when they are like this. And on this side, you can actually see the molt right here. So this is what's left after the cockroaches molt. It's just the outer skin. So that's also very cool for students to see, is how the insects grow by molting.
Melissa, we have another question coming
Sure.
in for you through our live chat feature. How often do these cockroaches molt?
When they're young, it's every couple, it's days, and then it slows down, becomes weeks, becomes months, and then when they get older, it's almost a year, I believe. So, but they will get about, this guy might molt 1 or 2 more times before he's grown, or he's grown all the way. So, okay, now on to the butterflies. So these are the painted lady butterflies. I'll hold them up like this for now. They are one of the brush-footed butterflies. They have about a 5 to 9 centimeter wingspan, and they live in total about 2 to 4 weeks as butterflies. Fun fact is they're found on every continent in the world except Antarctica and Australia. So, another few things in the wild, the females lay about 500 eggs, and what's really cool is the males are actually territorial. So the males will court the female, and when she comes to his territory, he'll try and show off and get the female that way. And also during migrations, these guys can move thousands of kilometers. So they're actually really amazing little winged creatures. So what we have here, I'm going to ask to go back to the smaller camera. So I will start with the eggs. Now this is butterfly eggs. Sadly, I did not put these on my last slide, but I will put it up later again. You can order these as eggs. I did not know until too late, but when they come in, you will get them in like this. I hope everyone can see them. There's a bit of a glare. So the egg stage is about 3 to 5 days. Usually the butterflies lay their eggs on plants that they like to eat, such as thistle or hollyhock. In the wild, we actually use a thistle extract to get them to lay their eggs on here. As you can see, the eggs are about the size of a pinhead and pale in color. So, and they lay up to 500 of them. So next up, we have caterpillars. Can you see those? Awesome. Okay, you can see the tiny little lines. Those are caterpillars. So that's the larvae stage of the butterfly. This is about 5 to 10 days. The caterpillars will eat and eat and eat. So this is all food around here. They will continuously eat. As the caterpillar skin gets tighter, it will actually shed the tight skin, much like a molt, in order to grow again. And here's some, we have some that are slightly bigger. Can we see that? Oh, perfect. Each caterpillar changes its skin about 4 times before it's fully grown. And then it's about 2 inches long once they are ready to go into their chrysalis. So these guys are actually a little bit, they're almost ready to go into chrysalis. You can see that they're kind of attaching to the roof here. They will then form a chrysalis by, they have a spinneret below their mouths, which that's where the silk thread comes out of, so they can build their chrysalis. They will hang from the top of these. Out in wild, they'll hang to whatever they can cling to. Then the caterpillar will split open once again, and that's when the chrysalis is revealed.
We've got a question.
Sure.
You said much like a molt. Is there a technical difference between what these caterpillars do and a true molt?
I actually do not know that, but I can always look into that for you and email you if you'd like, if you leave your email. That's a good question. So once they go, I have a couple of pupated caterpillars here. Let's see if I can finagle this so we can see it. So you can see the chrysalis at the bottom there. I'd like to take them out, but I'm a little worried that I might have an escapee if I do so. So I hope everyone can see what I'm pointing at down here. Is oh, there we go, they slid to the side. So that's the chrysalis. So it'll take about 7 to 10 days for them to complete metamorphosis this way. they will then emerge as the painted lady butterflies you see, and then they will live about 2 weeks. And then the marine goal in life is to lay eggs and start the process all over again. So we have these sets available. If you go to the next slide, please. So we have a complete habitat. If we want to go back to the big screen too, that's fine. I'll hold this up. Thank you. We do have a complete habitat, which comes with 30 larvae. They will come on this little disc here in the dish. There will be enough food for each individual larvae for each student. And it will come with a pavilion, which I'm sorry I do not have, but they're about this big. It's almost like a netted laundry basket, it looks like, but it's about this big. It has beautiful butterfly printed on it. So that's that kit. You can also get the art garden habitat, which doesn't come with all the small cups for each student. It only comes with 5 larvae on prepared media, so it will look much like this one here when you receive it in. And then you can order the set of 30 larvae just by themselves, and it will come with the food you need, so it will come with a media pack. Like I said, the eggs are available, and I apologize. I will get that number. I can email that number out if anyone is interested in ordering the eggs for the painted lady butterflies. So that's how we sell them. We only sell them as larvae. We don't sell them as butterflies because it would be too hard to transfer them. As you can see, even in this, they're having a little bit of trouble. So, but that is it for the painted ladies. If we want to go to the next slide, and let me prep this area here. Okay, so next up we have reticular terms. These are eastern subterranean termites. They're the most common termites found in North America. Now they are the ones that are considered pests, so when you think termite and destroying houses, these guys are definitely the ones that will eat any wood, any fixtures, even paper, books, and cotton are in danger. A mature colony in the wild is anywhere from 20,000 workers to as high as 5 million workers. Actually, the queen of the colony can lay between 5,000 to 10,000 eggs per year. Now, on that note, I want to say that we do not send out queens, so there is no worry of them reproducing. They have a structure of a caste system, and they are composed of males and females, but they are workers, soldiers, and reproductives. When we send these out, they are predominantly workers, and I will now dump them out to show you a little bit, see if we can take a look at these guys. So the workers are about 3 millimeters long. If we can go to the small camera, please. This might be a little bit difficult to see because they are very tiny. We see that?
Want us to switch cameras?
Yes, please. Yep. Can you see if I can zoom in? Can you zoom in? You can see them crawling around. You can't really see them too well. There we go. Now you can see those are the workers. Now, like I said, they're about 3 millimeters long, wingless. They are soft bodies, and they're usually this whitish color. Sometimes they are also gray. Let's see if we can find, they of course are walking around here. There's a bunch right here. Let's see if I can lift that up a little bit more. I apologize for this. And you do on occasion find soldiers. They only make up about 1% to 2% of a colony, so it's very rare to find them. Those guys are also wingless, but they would have a bigger head, and they would have these pincers that they actually use as defense for crushing ants, which are their main enemies. They also have a sticky fluid they can emit to trap the ants before they try and kill them. But like I said, it's very rare to find them. When we send these out, you will get predominantly workers. And it's pretty much impossible to find the reproductives, which would be tiny black versions of this guy right here. And they would also be winged. But like I said, you will get workers. Now, what's really awesome about these guys is we're going to stay here. We're going to see if this will work. Oh, lost my camera. There I am. So we do have a kit. If we go to the next slide, please. It's called Follow the Ink Lab. So what this comes with, these termites actually will, let's see if I can get them on here. It's a little bit difficult to wrangle. So I draw a line. And as you can see, they follow the ink. Now, ooh, come here. Let's see if this guy's coming back. There we go. Now what that is that because worker termites are blind, they actually emit a pheromone that indicates the path that it is traveling. So what happens here in this lab is students will see that a Bic pen will actually kind of mimic that pheromone, and the termites will follow that line that you create, or they create. Now the kit, you know, you can use different types of pens. Students can hypothesize if maybe the straight lines or the swirly lines are easier to follow, different types of paper, so students can really, you know, get really into the science of this and try to figure out why exactly it is that these termites follow this line. I don't know if we could see them. I put a couple more on there. As you can see there, I mean, for the most part, they do follow the line. They might be following each other's sense too, but if I make this a little thicker, these guys. So the kit comes with everything you need, brushes and stuff too to wrangle these guys in, because it's a little bit difficult at times, as you can see. We do. Yes?
Is there a substitute for these termites in case your state they cannot be shipped to your state?
No, I don't believe so, but that's another thing I'll have to look into. We do have a different type of termite, but I don't think that that's something we could send out. Excuse me, can we please press *6 to mute? We're getting a little bit of feedback. Thank you very much.
We have another question also.
Sure.
Is there a substitute critter that I could use with the same lab with the Papermate pens?
Sadly, no. This is the only one that has the pheromones. I'm sorry. There's a little bit of feedback. If we can all press *6 to mute. Thank you. Okay, sorry, getting back to that question. There is none that I know of. I'm getting really bad feedback. I apologize. Is everyone on mute, please? Okay. There we go. So, where was I? We do not have anything similar to this. The termites is the only thing we carry, as far as I know, that will follow the pheromones. And we do have Zeudermopsis termites, but they don't do the same thing, nor do we have the kit for that. So I apologize that we don't have a replacement for that. If we go to the next slides, I just mentioned the Zeudermopsis. So we do have Zeudermopsis termites as well, which is a species of dampwood termite. These guys you can actually use for a symbiosis lab. So if you don't want to do follow the ink lab, and I'm not sure about your state's restrictions on termites versus the other termites, you could do that lab, which then you can look at the flagellates inside of the termite under a microscope, which is a really interesting lab for students to do as well. If you just want to have these guys in your classroom just to watch them, their behaviors, talk about the caste system, we recommend using some moist rotting wood, which we also have, you can get, and an escape-proof container with holes for oxygen. So they do need that oxygen exchange, but I would recommend really pin-sized holes, or even a fabric to cover up the holes so these guys can't get out, because they will build a tunneling system, and they can reach the lid even though their substrate will be low enough away from the lid. But that is it for the reticular termites.
The question is,
sure.
If you draw a circle, will they keep following the circle over and over
Let's
and over
check
again?
it out. Let's see if I can do it right here with this guy. So the answer is yes. I mean, like I said, this guy's he's smelling the other paths of the other termites, but I mean, this one's went back to the line as well. So they do kind of, they don't really know what they're doing. They'll continue following it, thinking that it's one of their other workers indicating a path to somewhere. So that was a good question too. But that is it for those guys. I have one last critter to talk about. So let me just move this tray. So these guys are the best bugs. Are we on the next slide? We are. They're also called wood beetles. Some people call them Betsy beetles, which I think is a great name for them. They are insects, and let's see here. I'm on that camera. Whoops. And sometimes they jump down. Okay, so what we have here, you can go to the smaller camera or the close-up, and there we go. Perfect. So these guys have like a kind of a horn on their head. They do have pincers, but they don't really bite. I mean, they're very docile, as you can see. I can touch the front, and he doesn't really feel it necessary to bite. They do use it to eat wood, so that's why they need such sharp pincers. They have about a 2-year lifespan. What's really cool about them is they are subsocial, so they care for their young. So they help feed the young, they help build nests for the young all together. And they communicate via acoustical sounds, which is kind of like a high-pitched noise that they make. And larvae, including larvae and adults, make this sound. Oh, I'm getting a little fuzzy here. Sorry. Let me see if I can come back. There we go. They produce these through vibrations that they make by rubbing their third leg against their striated area, and that's how the larvae make the sound. And the adults actually do the sound by rubbing the upper surface of the abdomen against their wings back here, which is underneath this layer right here. But these guys are great. They also are very low maintenance, so the terrarium again is soil, rotting wood, which we have here to sell, and you can look at that care sheet, which has pretty much all the information you need on it to check it out. If we could go to the next slide, I could talk about, yeah, there we go. So they come in packets of 6, and we do have a habitat. If you choose not to make your own, we send you all that stuff, including instructions. So they are very easy to take care of. Again, very low maintenance. I mean, pretty much all these critters, with the exception of the butterflies, are very low maintenance. In the butterflies, it's just you have to transfer them. That's probably the most you have to do with them. So a little bit of misting, and these guys are happy as well. Now, if we go to the next slide, I will talk a little bit what these guys can be used for.
Before
Yes?
you go on, a couple questions.
Sure.
Do these have a similar exoskeleton as the hissing cockroaches, as well as the front legs look very similar to the hissing cockroach?
Yep, they're both true insects. So they have the head, the abdomen, and they do have the jointed legs, so those look similar. The exoskeleton as well, so they do also molt, but theirs, they do it underground, so it also, you can't usually find them. They're like disintegrated. But yes, they are both insects, just like the cockroaches. Any other questions on that? No?
Not right now. Keep
Okay.
your questions coming, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you
keep
so
going.
much.
I like interacting. This is new for me. I usually am more used to interacting with people. So these guys, like I said, low maintenance classroom pets, but a really cool thing to do with these insects is they do a tractor pull. So they are very strong for insects, and what you can do is you can take a piece of string or dental floss and make a little sled, and then put weights on the sled, and then students can calculate how many times stronger the insect is compared to humans. They can then, hypothesize that the female or the male best bugs are stronger, and also use kind of different weights or sleds to see what is easier for the best bug to pull. I don't have one set up right now because I didn't think we would have time to do it, but you basically just put the little loop around the insect's head and then create a little sled out of aluminum foil. I can also send this out. I have it written down, a whole experiment. You can find a plethora of different ways to do this experiment in the classroom as well. So that is what I have on the best bugs. Now you can also do the tractor pull with the hissing cockroaches as well. So you can also do an experiment in the classroom, see which one's stronger. Is the best bug stronger, or is the cockroach stronger? And as with the other animals, most of these can be behavioral studies. So you can see, light or dark, moist or dry. It's always a very good experiment to do for students. But as with everything, also phenomenal classroom pets because they are so low maintenance. Way better than a hamster, I would say. If we can go back to the big camera, then, so I have one more slide. So these are just some of the highlighted animals that we have, or insects and arthropods we have here at Ward's. This is a list of other things that are available. Now it depends on what state you are in. Sometimes you can't receive these, but another couple good ones. Harvester ants are very popular because we sell ant farms as well, so people get the harvester ants because they make the best tunnels. Nasonia are parasitic wasps, which you can actually see them lay their eggs inside the gray flesh fly pupae and see how they develop. So everything can be found on wardsci.com. It would take me hours to go over absolutely everything that we have, but you're more than welcome to check that out. If you have any questions, you can text right now, or you can unmute your phone and ask. And you can also email us at, you had the next slide, and we can stick, there we go. I'm sorry? Was that a question for me? So if you,
I have a question coming in, Melissa. What would be your top 1 or 2 favorite classroom pets to have in the classroom?
I absolutely love the millipedes because they are so low maintenance, and it's really cool because we are the only ones to be able to sell these guys. So those guys are really special. You're going to be the only ones that have them if you get them from us. So fruits, vegetables, dog food, and a little bit of misting, that's all it takes, and they're really easy to handle. So that's what I would say. Any other questions?
We have another one coming in, but for now, can we star 6 if we don't have a question? So another question about the giant millipedes: is there a morphological difference between males and females, or do we only know from behavior?
Yep. So they do have a visible sex organ, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to unwind her enough to see. If we could go back to the the zoomed in camera. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do this. There's a little bit of resistance. I do not recommend doing this because they are very sensitive, but if she would uncoil and relax, there is a sex organ right in the 7th segment. I can't uncoil her, I apologize. But that's how you tell the difference between males and females. Instead of a pair of legs, the males will have their sex organ, and instead of legs, it'll kind of be in the middle of it'll look like a leg that's stuck in the middle of their the segment. And I can't show it right now because she's coiling so hard right now. And as you can see, here's the stain I was talking about. I'm not sure if you guys can see that yellow color, but that's kind of the stain that she's leaving. It's kind of yellow in color, and it's a little bit stinky. But as long as I don't get it in my eyes or in my mouth, I am okay. But this is what, once they're more comfortable, they'll actually rock around, and it's really neat to see. Any?
Another question coming in, Melissa. I love the millipedes. How fast, if I order them, will they show up?
I want to say that we need a week in advance to know, because we just need to prep them and make sure they're good to go out. And then depending on where you are, everything live ships within 2 days because we don't like having our critters on a bus or a truck somewhere. So after you order them, I would say probably a week and a half then. But you can always talk to one of our technicians if you want them faster.
Any other questions from anybody? Please hit *6 to unmute, or you can type them via instant chat at this time. Also, if you're looking for a copy of this presentation, please email sciencehelp@vwr.com, which you see on your screen now, or I had some people come in with a request for the tractor pull. You can also email your request at sciencehelp@vwr.com. At this time, Melissa, I don't have any chats coming in, but if anybody wants to ask Melissa a question live, she is here. right now, so this is your opportunity to speak to her about any of these awesome critters, insects you saw today.
So my coworker just brought me a trick to uncoil this millipede, and she is now uncoiling. I don't know if we can see it. Ooh, there we go. I dunked her in a little bit of water. She's a little bit mad at me, and you can kind of see, the seventh segment is a pair of legs, so this is a female. Females also tend to be a little bit bigger and thicker, so it's hard to get the angle, I apologize. But right up here would be that the sex organ of the male. So this is a female. Oh, she's crawling around now. She did not like a bath. This is what they do. Once they uncoil, they just crawl around. They look for another spot to hide. But this is what makes them so great, is they're very slow, and you can pass them on from student to student. I do recommend holding them over a table, even though they can kind of cling on to everything. They do sometimes let go, and it will hurt them more than anything to fall from a higher height. So, whoops. Don't know if we can go back to the big camera probably and check this out. So she's now making her way up my arm. Any more questions while she's taking a walk?
Star 6 to unmute to ask your questions live with Melissa, or feel free to type them and I will read them anonymously at this time. Also, I did send out a few private chats to several of you. If you have a moment, please check those out. And again, don't forget to email sciencehelp@vwr.com with any of your questions. I've got several people coming in saying thank you for showing us unique critters. We have a new one. How often do tarantulas molt?
Same as with the cockroaches. When they're younger, when they're they will molt much more often. When they get older, it can be up to a year or more. Something I forgot to say about the tarantulas is the females can live up to 25 years. So if you get her as a classroom pet, definitely know that you are in it for the long run. Any other questions? Star 6 to unmute, or you can type them in too.
I think that's it.
That's it. Well, thank you so much all for coming and listening, and I hope you enjoyed it. And again, email us with any questions or a copy of the presentation.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day.